I was at the scene of the crime, bro. I think I was the last person that saw him before he got fired. I think from my standpoint, the skill set for him is still there. Maybe some of like the disconnect comes from some like trauma still stored like in his body.
I get out of rehab. My dad's like, you're going to go live with Coach Gruden for a week. I'm like, huh?
Man, I got everything checked off. Like, why do I still like feel like I'm struggling, bro? I feel like real wealth is just like peace in your mind, like having a positive belief system about yourself, treating your body like it's the only one you're gonna get.
That was a huge thing about me with football as well. I was like, I'm not happy doing this. And people couldn't understand it. You feel like you have everything that everybody wants from an outside perspective, but it's not enough for you or what you want. People call it synthetic heroin.
Yeah, that shit almost took me off the planet, bro. Getting a dirty batch of those, shit put my lights out.
We're living in the good old days. Take a look around. Ain't it funny how feels like we're in the good old days. Go and grab a cup, go and fill it up. Cheers to living in the good old days. Take a look around.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Glory Days, presented to you as always by PrizePicks. The guy I'm looking at right now is a person I've been waiting on this podcast, man, for a while. Our stories overlap in so many ways. An NFL Pro Bowl tight end, a guy who does so much for a space that means so much to me and so many others around the world, around the country, mental health. A guy who, like myself, loves the music and the journey, resilience of life, the reinvention of yourself, and just purpose of what all of us crazy people on this world are doing on this crazy spin and rock. But my guy, Darren Waller, how we living, brother? Appreciate you coming on. Been a long time in the making.
Yeah, man. Grateful to be here, bro. Grateful to be here, man. Honored.
Man, I guess that's a certain thing, just you using that word, grateful. I think a lot of things that have happened in your life this year probably kind of revolve around that word, huh?
Yeah, man. I was just talking to my sponsor earlier today. I'm like, bro, I feel like I still could be more in tune with gratitude in my life, but I am grateful for a lot of things that transpired. It's really hard to kind of wrap my mind around the different directions my story has gone, but just to be here talking about it, learning from it, and having the experiences that I had, though, it's like, fuck, like I couldn't ask for more,
People always ask me, I get DMs or, had a guy come up to me in Miami the other day and he was like, man, I've been sober for 3 years. Your story and what you've done is helped me out in so many different ways. I think a huge thing that people need to understand in their road with themselves is, the secrets that you keep that only you know about are detrimental in your ability to be able to help yourself. In the sense of like, you have to be open and honest with everything. And just that little statement you make about speaking with your sponsor about, I feel like I'm doing so much good in so many different ways. But when it comes down to it, I feel like I have the ability to do more. That little shift of honesty within yourself is the difference in you growing as a person and you not, I feel like.
1,000%, man. And the honesty shit is still so hard for me because I look back now, I have like a much different relationship with like my childhood experiences now. And it's more so like, that's why I am the way that I am, instead of just being like this fucked up kid that was doing all this crazy shit. It was like, like for some reason I felt like keeping secrets was my way of being safe. And I also got the high and the buzz off of keeping secrets.
Yeah, of course.
Like I was telling the story the other day, my parents used to tell us when we were kids, like you get one soda a day. We're drinking water other than that. And, just trying to get us to be healthy. And they said one day they went up to my room and was looking for something in my room. And there was like soda cans coming out from under the bed because I was stashing soda cans underneath there. So it's like that sneakiness and that addict behavior was there. Like, bro, I'm talking like 8 years old, you know what I'm saying? So the honesty is still difficult for me because, we're talking 25 years, the first 25 years of my life, no honesty, just hiding, just trying to be in the shadows. And now it's a little bit different now.
I think and there's so many different areas in your life it comes out in, right? You're right. The personal relationship you have with yourself, a relationship with your significant other or wherever it been. Like I was a person when I was a kid, my dad was always like a guy who would catch me doing something or whatever. So I had to like up my level of sneakiness to like get around my dad or like try to do the things that I thought I wanted to do, but wasn't allowed to or couldn't. And like, it's crazy how much like that ability of manipulation and like sneakiness develops over time to where you take it into different areas of your life. And like, I have people that'll, they'll make up that statement like, yo, you're really manipulative. It's like, yo, if I want to be and I really want to go down that path, I'm 25 to 28 years in conditioned to being that way. So it's a way that I've known for a long time, and one that you have to continuously, it'll never leave you, right? It'll always be there and have the ability to do it. But to be able to, the first step of the whole thing is being able to recognize that, have the awareness of self to be able to, see it, correct it, and be able to try your best to be able to change your ways in your regular life these days. I feel like leaving football, right, as a decision you make, and then you take time off, come out of retirement this season, you express your gratitude to the Dolphins, you become a free agent in March. What percentage are you putting it at right now that you're going to come back next season, and just like how important was this year for you of getting back into football?
For your first question, I mean, I'm definitely considering playing again for sure. It's something that I'm planning on giving myself till the end of the month to sit with and contemplate, because I know that the difficulties that I faced this year physically were all because of not having the proper training, as I was telling you about before we got on the call. Just no football training for 2 years and just popped up to camp like, I'll play ball, fuck it. So I want to be able to start that like the day after the Super Bowl and just start to build that foundation if I'm going to do it. So just taking that month to do this, because last year, I mean, I had a bunch of moments where it was just like, ooh, that itch is still there, that bug is still there. Just like the joy and just being in the competitive flow. So I'm definitely considering it. I still got some left in the tank. And we're gonna see what the decision is by the end of the month.
Up and down year for Miami. They fire the guy who brought you in there. Mike McDaniel is a guy who I was with, and I know like how amazing of like an offensive guy he is, a coach, like awesome dude. What was your reaction as you see that news with him, and like also kind of how the year went for Miami with how much talent they have? You lose Tyreek, just kind of a wild year that ended up brewing to a perfect storm to where they end up, getting rid of McDaniel's.
Yeah, wild year front to back. I mean, I was at the scene of the crime, bro. I think I was the last person that saw him before he got fired, bro. Like, my exit meeting was that Thursday morning from 9:30 to 10. So I get there for my exit meeting, and we're talking for like 10 minutes, and he's like, yeah, like definitely want you back next year. And we're just like reflecting on the year and things that he was thinking about doing different in the upcoming year. And then Stephen Ross kicked the door in at like 9:42. And he comes in and like joins the conversation. We're just all talking, reflecting on the year. And Stephen Ross is like, well, hey, you back next year, this, that, and the third. And then the conversation kind of hits a lull, and I'm sitting across the desk from Mike, and Stephen Ross is standing there just kind of looking at me like,
it's time for you to get the hell out.
I looked at Mike. He was like, we'll finish this conversation later, because I didn't know they had the GM search was in full flow. I didn't know what they had big business talk about. Like, we already really done here. We just powwowing. And so I go out to the meeting. I go downstairs and get a massage. I come up from the massage, check my phone. He's fired. And I'm like, damn,
wow.
Like this shit cold for real.
I guess what a insane situation to be in, where you feel the tension in the room of what's about to come. Did you feel like during that at all when you were walking out? It probably didn't hit you that you're like, could this be a meeting where he's about to get canned?
It didn't even hit me for real, because like I said, I was like, they probably just talking business. They trying to move to hiring the next GM. By that time, everybody thought like they were keeping Mike.
Yep.
So I was just like, oh, they got to figure something out. I'll call him later in the day or whatever. But I come out of a massage, and the timing of it, I'm like, yeah, that was definitely that conversation. The way he was looking at me like, man, like,
it's time for you to get
right, like, cool, like, that's up.
PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app. The NFL playoffs and the national championship are here, and there's no better time to join than now. The app is really easy to use. To make a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats, and that's really it. PrizePicks player picks are available in 35 states, including Texas and California. And best of all, PrizePicks will give you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups. So use promo code Johnny when you download the app and sign up today. Lastly, here's my lineup for this weekend. I'm taking more on Christian McCaffrey's rush and receiving yards, more on Puka's rush and receiving TDs, and more on Josh Allen's rush and receiving TDs. PrizePicks, man. It's good to be right. Tua is a guy that if I walking around, anywhere in the world, and I'm talking about quarterbacks or this and that or whatever, I go to bat for him every time. I think the guy is unbelievably talented. I think he's a great quarterback. And I think whether it's in Miami or somewhere else, I think he'll get back on the right track of what he needs to be. What's your thought process and your time being around Tua and how it was, being in an offense that he's leading?
Just from me being there, like when I showed up there in training camp, I got hurt early on because I was doing speed work and I hadn't trained, but I was watching most of training camp. So I'm on the sideline. I'm watching this man throw darts every practice, bro. Like it was just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like I'd never seen the anticipation and the accuracy out there. So it's like, I think from my standpoint, the skill set for him is still there. Well, I think like maybe some of like the disconnect comes from like seeing it translate. I think there might be like there could be some like trauma still stored like in his body from like what he's gone through, like with the head injuries and stuff. Because there's this book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is like the #1 book about like trauma. And they talk about how trauma was first with like war veterans and like what they went through there. And like they'll come home and they'll see like a car sitting by itself in a grocery store parking lot, but they're in their body and their brain will tell them like that car has an explosive in it when it's just like a car sitting at fucking Publix or something. And so I think like I can notice him like trying to make things happen like in the game, like he's trying to pull the trigger, but it's almost like his body and like his system won't
allow him to do it.
Do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like if there's a way for him to find some healing in that regard, I think the skill set is definitely still there, like you said.
Football is such a fast twitch, instinct-based game to where you have to, especially playing the quarterback position, cut it loose. You're late with the ball if your eyes really register things. Like you're late to where the ball needs to be, throwing second window, first window, on a plant foot, things like that. So something that also happens too is, and this happened to me in Cleveland, is when your confidence gets rattled, right, throughout the season and throughout certain things that just go on in the game of football. When you start to lose a little bit of confidence in yourself and you're starting to think more and you're thinking about your injuries and all these things that comes with it, it affects the way you play, like 100%. So, my hope is that he can get a fresh start somewhere else. Obviously with what his contract is and what's going on, it's going to be really interesting if they're going to really just hand him, 50, 60, $70 million, whatever it is. And, put it on their books and be like, okay, we're just going to write this off and go on to the next, whatever the less. Always wishing Tua the best. And, from the football side, the personal side, the mental side, he's a guy that I definitely want to see, win in every way. Trying to get back to Mike McDaniel a little bit. How was it playing in that offense and just how, great of a scheme guy he is as far as like seeing opponents throughout the week? You get a chance to see it from the tight end side as a pass catcher and then also as a blocker as well. Just your guys' formations, things that are done. I wish I could find this clip, but Gruden broke down one of his plays this year where it's like so much motion that's coming around and misdirection, and you're running plays that you would have learned in college, right? But there's just such a spin and a twist and a variation on the whole thing that it looks completely different. So how was it playing in that and like seeing these plays that you have schemed up throughout the week against that you just know are going to work versus the defense?
Yeah, he's a human computer, bro. Like it's crazy. There's a week we played the Chargers, bro. This dude started making up formations, bro, and he broke down, like he was telling us this, he broke down how the Chargers, how their quarters defense is set up. They and when they have like if you put 4 to a side, they put everybody over into the corner of the formation. He's like, wherever we run this play from, it was like basically like a G scheme to the right. He's like, wherever we run this play is going to hit for a touchdown. And it was early in the game, and Vaughn scored from like 60 something on the play because we put 4 into the boundary, and he figured out that defenses shit themselves. If you put somebody like in a slot formation, but they're 5 yards in the backfield, they don't know how to treat him as a running back or as a slot receiver.
So if he's pretty much even with the quarterback and you just move him out 8 yards to the left of where the quarterback is and you just flex him out like that, they have no idea?
They had no idea what to do. There's a whole bunch of teams we started playing from there to where the run game really took off because these different formations, they started throwing Dan Brunskill like extra O-lineman as a tight end, and he had to have him going across the formation and shit. But yeah, just the way that he really got like in his like designer bag for the run scheme just alone. And then the passing game as well. It's just like thrown into those windows. Everything is just like that anticipation, just like thrown it, really just having the faith to put it there. If you paused it as the ball's leaving the quarterback's hand, you'd be like, why is he throwing it there? But then Waddle's flying in there, catching it. I'm coming in, catching it like right on time. Like
I would be so interested to see what he's calling his stuff and like formation based wise. Like obviously, whenever I was with McDaniel, he was our receivers coach in Cleveland, but we would get into like early in the week or something. It'd be like a Monday after our workout that you have after a game on Sunday. The next day you go in, you do your workout, and it'd be like, yo, what are we thinking for this week? What are our runs going to be? And I remember Shanahan being like, me and McDaniel haven't sat down on it. So like the way he evolved as far as learning everything, he was our receivers coach, but he's doing our entire run game package for the whole week. So just like how much he knows about ball, the whole thing was just like crazy to see. Like I don't see how there's any way he doesn't get another opportunity somewhere else. I would be shocked because in my opinion of how he is, I think the guy is deserving of being a head coach.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant, man. I mean, like you see throughout the year, it's like everybody needs somebody to blame for everything. But it's like, you look back over the season, it's like, man, this dude is like, the shit that he's preaching, what he's teaching, how detailed he is, how he's explaining stuff to us. It's like, bro, I feel prepared going into every game. I know like certain situations, what to expect coverage wise. Like he breaks that shit down for real. And yeah, I mean, I feel like if there's anything that people think that he needs to grow in, I feel like he's smart enough guy to realize like, okay, maybe these are certain things that I could have done better. These are certain situations where I could have held people to a higher standard. Whatever he takes away from it, I know for a fact that he's going to apply that information. He's too fucking smart. Not
100%. Well, failure is always a huge teacher in life. I mean, at least for me, I think I learned a lot more through the failures that I had in life than I ever did through the rise and through the up. So as we get into your story a little bit again, a guy who had so much success, on the football field, 2023 rolls around and you're just like, I think I'm going to take a break from this. I know the feeling of being overwhelmed and being like, am I really in this as much to where like, it's probably what I should have done, right? It's probably rather than burning things down to the nub and trying to sabotage my way out of a situation that I wasn't happy in, I could have definitely used time to step away, get myself right and figure out exactly if the game was important to me enough to do it. So what really was the thing that made you be like, you know what, I'm going to do this for me and take some time to step away when everybody in the world is going to be like, what is going on? This doesn't make sense to us.
I think the reasoning for me to even just start moving in that direction was because, in 2023, this is like, signing like my third contract, kind of like big money, and I'm have an established career and married and all these things. But it's still like, bro, I feel like I'm hitting this wall of emptiness the same way I did with drugs and alcohol, but drugs and alcohol are not in the picture. So it's almost like an even lower bottom emotionally than it was before, because it's like, damn, like what is it that I keep running into? Because now I don't even know really what that is for sure, for real. It's like, it's too like unconscious for me. I haven't really tapped in to that. And so that's what's wanted me to start exploring. And then I had like this really bad health scare where like I had a lung infection toward the end of that 2023 season that really had me in the hospital for like 3 days, and just like somebody had to pick my dick up and put in a jug for me to pee.
Wow.
That's how weak I was. So it's just like, fuck, like I really gotta like take some time. And it's like, football, it's like, they talk about money making wise, like this is the most money you'll make in your life. It's such a small window. And so it's like, this is the last industry where people would tell you like, take some time for yourself, like step away from the game. And it's just like, but on a spiritual sense, it's like, man, like if something's really for me, if God's really got something for me, like it'll be there. Like, but I need to take this time because I feel like I'm still just trying to keep my head above water in life, man. Like it's still like, it's just not hitting, bro. It's not, the money's not making that much of a difference. Being married to a high profile person ain't making much of a difference. Like, it's just like, I'm still like feeling like I'm not really, there's still got to be so much more than this life that I'm living. And, I keep thinking like, what is that? How do I arrange it externally for it to answer that question for me? But really it all is all like in here.
Yeah. You can fill the holes with whatever you want from an outside perspective, but until you, analyze those and fill them yourself for what you need for you. And you're the only person that can answer that. I'm a person that's been told a million times, we can't help you until you want to help yourself. So this is something that you obviously, identified on your own and got to a point where you're like, oh, all these things that people on the outside or even myself at times think may be working for me aren't. And, that was a huge thing about me with football as well. I was like, I'm not happy doing this. Everybody, I'm locked in for 2 more years of what I have to contractually do. But like every day I wake up to go get in the car, to go to the building, I fucking hate it. And people couldn't understand it. You feel like you have everything that everybody wants from an outside perspective, but it's not enough for you or what you want. That's why I feel like I've been happier with less, because at least now I wake up and do the things that make me happy and what I want to do. Well, life is such a thing of perspective as well, right? What would you say is the biggest difference in perspective as a player and from when you left the league in 2023 and as you come back this year in 25?
Coming back now, it's just like it's like my definition of success has totally shifted. A lot of in my time away, I realized like a lot of the like wounding, like just like the pain or just like rejection, like all these things I felt earlier in my life that were still driving me. And so they made success for me was always like, I got to hit these certain yards, this many catches, like this many targets, like, or I'm a failure, bro. Like, or I'm not getting the job done. When really it's like the whole time looking back, it's like, man, people have said like, man, just you even being around, just your presence being there for other people has meant so much. Things that you have to say whenever you speak, like those things go a long way. So it's like, damn, like my value, I had much more value than I ever thought I had. Like I just thought like I wasn't valuable if I wasn't performing at that clip, So this year it's like having to be so like up and down and the production not being there, it's put another mirror in front of me to be like, do you think you're valuable or not if these numbers aren't to the standard of what people would expect from you? If you do run into injuries, if you do run into some setbacks, like, do you still think you're valuable or not? And so that's the mirror that it showed me this year. It was like, damn, like I have so much more value that I bring to the table, just me being who I am. And once you assume that perspective, it's like, oh, I can go out and play free because it's not like I need these numbers. Like I can just go out there and it's like whenever they throw me the ball, I'm gonna make some shit happen when they throw me the ball. And whatever else is being asked of me, I know like it's gonna set up somebody else. It's gonna help somebody in some way. So everything that's being asked of me is valuable. It's just like I don't have to see it the way other people see it. Like they think, oh, it's just catches and yards are valuable. Like whatever I'm bringing to the team in this moment is valuable for me, and that takes all that extra shit.
I think it's valuable for other people as well to see you. That mindset oozes in the way you walk into the building and to how you treat people and to everything. And we play such a macho game, right? The NFL is a very like, there's a majority of the guys that are like, yo, this is all me. Like they get into a whole different mindset, a reality of what they think they are versus what they actually are. It's about the catches, the targets, the all pros, the Pro Bowls, the contracts, all of this. Your story shines such a different light on the other side of that. And what you said in that last, little part is huge, right? Like, just taking the time off and going back to football, what that shows kids, what that shows people struggling with addiction or mental health issues. There's so much that it shows on a different personal level that's it's infectious. It's awesome. And to be able to have the mindset of like, yo, when I'm called upon and when I need to go make a play, of course, I still always have that competitive dog in me to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm going to go do that for my brothers, for myself, for what my role and job is on this team. And, it's unbelievable to hear. It's unbelievable to be able to sit down and talk with somebody like that because, you and Maxx Crosby are two guys that I look at in their stories and just like, man, to overcome what you guys have overcome, man, it's fucking hard. I didn't have the ability to do it. When you go into, recovery and getting sober and doing these things, especially from, I guess I was 22 at the time, whenever I was in Cleveland, I had this, the thought of, am I really never going to be able to drink again, ever, forever? Like there's so much I feel like I haven't done or experienced in my life. And I couldn't make that change to be able to save my football career. Right. So, as I see what you and Maxx have done, is such an amazing thing to be able to get to the place of getting back to football after leaving a path that would have, left you in one that could have been very similar to mine,
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I never thought I'd be playing football again after I came out and went to rehab and all that shit. I was like, oh, this shit is definitely done for me, bro. Like, I ran this shit into the ground. Every opportunity I had to maybe change or do better, it's like that shit is cooked. That shit's history. But then it's like that moment, that time gave me the opportunity to just kind of reevaluate everything. That was like the chapter 1 of reevaluating everything, and just being like, wow, like a life sober, like with the dudes I was running with and shit. It's like sober, life sober. That shit's gonna be lame as fuck. It's just gonna be like, it's not gonna be. But then you start to realize, like, fuck, like, damn, I was really living like that because I was really trying to just like escape and not feel certain things that I was feeling, and just kind of like numb myself out from all that shit, And now it's like I don't really feel that much like shame and that much like anxiety. Like it lessens and lessens and lessens, and then getting back into training, it's like, wow, I just feel like I'm more present to the training, like the gratitude of just like, wow, I'm just here doing this, and like putting emphasis on these small little things of my training, and then letting those things stack up. And then it's like I get reinstated and back on the practice squad. And then I'm on the practice squad, and it's like, we'll have a whole different attitude and perspective to being on the practice squad. It's like I'm going against the number 1 defense in the league that year was the defense I was going against every single day. Like, I'm going to get better. Like, fuck the opportunity down the road. If it's for me, it's for me, but I'm going to improve. Like, that shit is going to happen. And then it's like, from there, getting claimed and going to the Raiders, and it's just like, I'm just taking these principles that I'm learning.
Yeah, no, you're taking what you're learning through AA and through recovery and through everything. Yeah, I hear it in certain things you say, the small little wins. Like, I was the person when I first went to rehab that wanted to make huge changes immediately for the first time. Right. And like, okay, I know what I should cut out. I know, like, when I get that text or this and that, it goes down that direction. So we need to stay away from. I had that like grandiose mindset of like doing it all in one like huge sweep. Like, I bought in, hear all these terms and do everything. Fuck, dude, I didn't make it 48 hours out of that rehab without being straight back. And the same thing, people in sobriety and in recovery will be able to relate. But for the people who aren't in it, just how much you have to do for yourself outside of football to make sure you even have that opportunity to walk through the building.
Yeah, bro. It's like it's full time, man. Like, even to this day, like, I mean, as soon as we get off of this, I'm getting on a 12-step meeting. And throughout the week, it's like, even in Miami, I was living in Fort Lauderdale, and it's like, Monday after the game, you got that whole routine. But as soon as I leave the building from that, I'm going and picking up this dude that I sponsor, taking him to the meeting. He's 20 minutes out the way, then taking him back, reading with dudes reading with a dude like Saturday morning before we go do the walkthroughs and the time before. It's like trying to be of service, trying to do all the writing, the step work, and it's just like it's that shit's hard work, bro. And it's like the mirror you got to look in to look at yourself and just be honest with yourself. That shit is draining on a deep spiritual level. So it's like putting that with the grind that football is, like, bro. Sometimes it's like I can feel my recovery habits in the shit that has made me better. I can feel that slip even being 8+ years into this shit.
I wanted to take a quick break to talk about something that's become a staple in my day, Lucy nicotine pouches. I've tried a lot of pouches over the years, and Lucy is just on another level. My personal go-to right now is the Lucy Breakers, especially the mint flavored. Always a mint guy. They got this little flavor capsule inside, so you pop it with your teeth and it hits you with a just instant burst of mint. And the flavor lasts, not like the other pouches that get stale in a couple minutes. It's clean, no tobacco, and the shape actually feels good. It doesn't sit weird in your lip, and if you want stronger options, Lucy pouches go all the way up to 12 milligrams. There you go. Honestly, once you try them, it's tough to go back. That's why Lucy is the official nicotine pouch partner of Almost Friday. You can go grab Lucy in stores nationwide or get it delivered straight to your door. Lucy is the only pouch that delivers long-lasting, on-demand flavor. All you got to do to find a store is go to lucy.co/stores or get it shipped with 20% off your first order at lucy.co/Johnny. So use code Johnny at lucy.co and you're good. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every customer is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
So college for me was when everything like really ramped up, and you're getting to a point where you have a year like I did my freshman year at Texas A&M, like have all the success in the world and you're drinking and partying while you're doing it. It's like I had a mindset about me that I was invincible in a sense, right? I mean, I'm sure it had to be a similar way for you where you're in college, you're having success, and that it's a slippery slope and it happens fast.
Yeah, for sure. I was high school was kind of the opposite for me. I was a super late bloomer, bro. I was like really small. Everybody was way bigger than me my freshman and sophomore year. I was riding the bench both years, or I was hurt and out. I started playing varsity like my junior year, senior year, and that's where shit really started to pick up. I started with painkillers my sophomore year. Some teammates had put me onto them, and then started smoking weed my junior year. This dude I'll pick up for school every day. He's like, pick me up for school. We can smoke a blunt every morning.
You're in a party city too for college as well. Like,
oh yeah, getting to Tech, man. It's like you're right in the heart of downtown Atlanta. Like, bruh, it would be in the thousands of times you would see me walking looking like a complete ghost in Buckhead, walking around all those bars and just like in Atlanta at frat houses. In college, bro, yeah, I mean, it's damn near daily drinking. I mean, big painkillers for me, smoking weed, like all that shit. Like I'm with all of it. Like if you got Xanax, you got some coke, like whatever that's gonna take me somewhere and give me that feeling.
Yeah, that
like
escape that we talked about. Like you're running from something at that point, and being that young, being 18, 19, 20 years old, you don't even know it at the time. You feel like you're on a path with everybody else, and what is the status quo of what you do in college, right? It's just we do it in a much, much different way. And then you add a thing that we both experienced to the mix, which is, getting to the next level and getting drafted. So how was it as you get drafted and, your life changes and you can really do whatever you want in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really do much. I didn't really attract a lot of attention to myself. I was just like real, like low key, always kind of just like moving in the shadows, really. But like, I got my signing bonus. I was 6th round. It was like $111K. Like after taxes, it was $64,000. And you're talking to somebody that's like, we weren't in that NIL shit, bro. Like I was at Georgia Tech. They would give you $15 cash for you got on the bus to go to the game. This will last you till Monday. And that would just be like McDoubles and McChickens and like liquor in a plastic bottle. So like that's what I knew. Like if I had $100 in my account in college, like I thought I hit the fucking lottery. So you get that $64,000 check. It's like shit. Give me all the perk 30s you got, bro. Like I'll take them.
What a dangerous thing. I was one of those guys that like you're the badass partier and stuff, right? And you just fucking go to Vegas and you do blow and you do all this shit. And I remember walking out of the building one day and Justin Gilbert was in my draft class as well from Oklahoma State. And people were always kind of like, yo, why is he always so to himself and shit? Like, he always looks like he's kind of fried. And I'm walking out of the building one day and yo, what are you on, bro? And he's like, fucking opens up a little bag and hands me the fucking littlest pill, little blue pill. I'm like, this is what you're talking about? My sister's flying into Cleveland from, she was going to school at A&M at the time. So she's flying in from Houston to Cleveland. We got out of the building that day, maybe like 2 p.m. I go back home. It's like 3. I got to go pick her up at like 6 or 7 o'clock. Well, I walk into the condo and I just take that 30 out of my pocket. I look at it, I'm like, this can't do shit. I take full bars. Like I take full sticks and sit on the couch and watch NBA games. What is this gonna do? Wham. Bro, next thing I know, I'm like, fuck, damn. I lay on the bed, boom. I wake up, it's probably like 10 p.m. My sister's there. She's sitting in the living room. She's all fucking pissed. I'm like, yo, what the fuck was that, bro? What kind of fucking drug was that? And it's terrible how like addictive they are and really like how strong something that small can be is. And like you watch now what's happened with that drug, like it's a scary thing. It's obviously people call it synthetic heroin. Like it's amazing how powerful those things are and how much, they've wrecked people's lives to the point where it's like, it's insane.
Yeah, that shit almost took me off the planet, bro. Like that's getting a dirty batch of those with some fent in it, bro. Shit put my lights out. That's what propelled me. It put enough fear in me to be like, all right, like I'm not in control here. Because up until that point, it was like, bro, I got kicked off my high school basketball team. I I got suspended twice in college. One drug test away from getting kicked out of school. If we won an Orange Bowl my senior year, they wasn't finna kick me out. 2 suspensions with the Ravens. The second one being a year-long ban. Like, bro, like.
And they probably gave you a lot of leeway and stuff too. And like Harbaugh seems like a guy who, was obviously working with you, trying to get you right. Yes. You have to talk a little bit about how it was when you get into a situation, right? How was your feeling when you first get to Oakland, right? When you first get there, you get around guys, like Maxx, had to finally feel like, you were in a position to where you could succeed and be the football player that you were destined and determined to be, huh?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, even because I got to Oakland towards the end of 2018, and they claimed me off the practice squad, and so I was there. It was, Jared Cook was still there. He was having a Pro Bowl year at tight end.
Beast.
So I was like, yeah, he was going crazy, and he was just like cool dude, like just a great environment. Like my tight end coach Frank, who was with the Dolphins, was the main reason why I went to the Dolphins. Like he was just like looking out for me on every level. Even when I was on the scout team, like I was doing shit and I was like, man, was that good? And AJ McCarron was our scout quarterback. He was like, bro, yeah, keep doing that.
I love
like,
AJ.
What are you talking? Why are you asking me that? Like, yes, do that.
We had AJ on the pod, bro. He's a good dude. Maxx was telling us that locker room and that team was almost kind of like being in a movie, right? You got Antonio, Richie Incognito, Vontaze Burfict, Josh Jacobs, Gruden, like. How was it in that locker room and being there? I'm sure it was like a movie.
Oh man, yeah. So 2019. Wow, I look back on that time because we came into 2019 and Gruden, like before we started the offseason program, he was like, yeah, we're not going to re-sign Jared. We're going to let you just be the starter this year. Like we believe in you. And I was like, all right, cool. Like go out in the spring, like making plays. And Vontaze Burfict is on defense. Like this is one of the most feared. He like played in the wrong decade. He should have been playing like the 70s and 80s and shit. And he was over there like, bro, he was like a real deal like leader, bro. He was like, and he told me he was like, nigga, I don't give a fuck what they think about you, bro. You gonna have to show me. And it was like, I was like, damn, but like I respected shit like that. Like that's the type of shit you needed. And Antonio Brown was out there like, I think there's really like some mental health things going on. Cause like some days he'd be out there and he'd be like the nicest dude you ever met, like super cool with everybody. And then one day he would just spaz, bro. But he was like, anytime he was on the field, he was like, it was unbelievable, bro. Like, couldn't put words around it, bro. Like, nigga, like, was unbelievable. He practiced like 3 times, bro, and all 3 times was just completely dominant. And yeah, Richie Incognito was like a high school bully from like a movie, like would stuff you in a locker and like flashy shit. Like, he was crazy, dog. But he like always had your back though. At the end of the day, like it was just just personalities that you couldn't replicate, bro. Like a movie writer couldn't write.
And then you have Gruden, right? A guy who I've got to spend a lot of time with. After I went to rehab after my first year, this was like spring of 2015. My dad had always had a good relationship with Gruden since we did the QB school like before the draft. Like him and my dad hit it off, and they would like text and stuff, check in on me and things. So I get out of rehab, I'm doing all this recovery stuff. My dad's like, he hits me. He's like, yo, I booked you a flight to Tampa. I'm like, okay, what the fuck are we doing in Tampa? He's like, you're going to go live with Coach Gruden for a week. I'm like, huh? He's like, you're going to go stay with Coach Gruden. He's offered you to stay at his house and go hang out. You guys can break down film. He's like, bring your fucking playbook. You get on the flight tomorrow. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I literally went and stayed with him for probably 5-6 days. And I remember when I get to the house the first night, I get there in the afternoon. We had already done some film stuff, and we go back to the house, have dinner. So I get to that point where you're probably going to go to sleep. And he's like, yo, what time do you want to start tomorrow? I'm thinking, like, okay, this is fucking legendary Coach Gruden. I'm like, 7:30. He's like, okay, cool. I'll come back and pick you up. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm in there 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm like, you're not coaching right now. You're just, it's the off season of what would be a coaching job. And you're just in there grinding film every day from, 4:35 in the morning. He's like, I'll come back and pick you up. I woke up the next day, probably like 5 o'clock. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to have him come pick me up. I'll just go with you off the rip. But it was, I've got to spend enough time around him, but always curious of, if you credit him a lot with a lot of your success and how it was being around Coach Gruden.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, first, all the offensive install meetings, every single one was like a Netflix stand-up special comedy routine, bro. like just jokes out the ass, bro. You're always engaged. You're never like bored or just like zoned out or somebody fall asleep. Like you're just like kind of like on the edge of your seat because you don't know what this dude about to do or say or anything. And I just appreciate him challenging me with like all right, we're gonna see what you got on this route today. Like trying me on a whole bunch of different things. And that's how I feel like my game was able to grow because they were just like, hey, like try this shit out, try this out, try this out. And it was just like, it motivated me to be like, all right, like, you know, it might take me some time to work at this route, but they giving me an opportunity. Like I really want to come through for this dude because he's like, you know, he's the main one telling me like, you're going to be a starter. Like I believe in you. You're going to be great. Like this is like at the time where I'm like fresh off the practice squad, like in and out of suspensions my whole career. I'm like, bro, I don't even really believe in myself, but he believed in me and was saying that shit long before it ever really happened. So I just look back and I'm just like, man, he ain't have to do all that.
That's such an important time in a player's development, right? Like, I didn't feel that really in the NFL until I got with Josh McCown the next year, my second year. And we would stay after practice and make some throws, make like a you know, that seam ball for even to a tight end is like tight window, has to be in the right spot. Like it's crucial if you want to complete that pass, it has to be there, right? It can't be high and out front where it's a hospital ball for you. Can't be low. There's backers like. And I remember like coming off, like making that throw and Josh McCown looking at me and being like, what the fuck do you mean you don't have confidence about what it is? Like, look at that. Like, watch, I'll go and do, like, look at what you're doing. So to have a guy that's like, yo, to be able to believe in you and tell you that, it shifts your mindset from a point of like, you know, I've been in your situation, you know, I've been on the practice squad, you know, people have had the opportunity to claim me. My film is out there, this and that. Like, am I going to be good enough to do this? And then you have a guy like Gruden come in and it shifts your whole perspective and trajectory of who you are as a player.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like nobody was expecting anything from me. Like I was just on the Ravens, just like hanging on. Like people thought like I was just, you know, practice squad player. Like that shit, not one person was expecting me to do anything that I was doing in my career, including me a lot of the time. But then it's like once you kind of get into like that flow and it's like every day, it's just like showing yourself through your actions and through the opportunities that they give you. That's like, oh wait, no, like I really do this. And then it's like you kind of get out of that world of where you're trying to impress executives and coaches and guys. It's just like, wait, like, nah, I'm just like, now I got that own drive in myself to go out here and do these extra things, have a whole routine to my day that nobody has to force me to do. Then it's like, oh, I got the wheel here. Like I'm about to take this shit like where I want to take it.
You know, there was a scenario which I wish there would be, where Gruden comes back and coaches this next season and gets a head coaching job. He's a guy that you would want to line up and play for sure, huh?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. That might be my first meet.
You know, in 2020, you know, you got a chance to play with a guy who's a finalist for the NFL Hall of Fame this year, and Jason Witten. You know, he spent his last year in the league with you on the Raiders. How was it being around him? You know, he's a guy I've got to spend some time around with, being from Texas and him being in Dallas. You know, a Hall of Famer probably on and off the field and who he is as a person, huh?
Oh, yeah, man. Just, football-wise, I mean, it's like, bro, like, you see, like, the dudes that rush the passer and their get-off, like, his get-off on offense, like, would make him look like so much faster than he was. Like, he realized all the ways in which that he could elevate his game and just, like, yeah, the knowledge of just, like, being in zone windows and just, like, having a feel and just, like, creating a relationship with your quarterback, man. Those are all things I'm just sitting in the room, like, you know, I'm the guy in the room, but I'm just like, I'm not saying too much. I'm just trying to listen. And he's like, the way he knows like everything that goes on, like how pass protections work, where you're at in the progression and the timing with which you should show up and not being too, you could win, but not being too early and all these things. It's just like, bro, just like a wealth of football knowledge and just, you know, funny dude, man. Brought a lot of life to the room. To have that year with him was definitely an honor because you're just like, I mean, we're in the presence of absolute greatness.
You know, there's another guy playing in Oakland right now who, when you watch film and when you watch him take over a game, Brock Bowers, man, that guy can, when you watch him play the tight end position, you have to sit there and be like, wow, this guy's a absolute fucking beast. Most career catches by a tight end through 2 seasons in NFL history. The guy's crazy, huh?
It don't make any sense, bro. It don't make any sense. I got home from one of the games we played this year, and we got back. I got situated. I had this chiropractor I was working with in town. He was working on me, and I could see the TV to my left, And it was the one against the Chargers where he did like a spin in, like caught the low one-handed fade. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, bro, he's like legit.
And he looks
like seeing it in college.
he looks like he works for a financial management firm or something. You wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, he got that Hunter Renfro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got that just completely deceiving. Like, what? This guy's about to go out there and do that? Yeah, he's about to go out there.
He's really like
y'all
that.
Know he's getting the ball. He's still gonna cook.
No doubt. You know, to get back on the topic we talked about a little bit about earlier, Maxx Crosby, you know, his situation that he has going with the Raiders right now is one that's tough, right? You know, you sign a huge deal, but, you know, there's so much more that needs to be done for that team to where you want to see that guy playing in the postseason. You want to see that guy playing for a Super Bowl. You know, is there a situation in a setting where you see him, you know, not being with the Raiders any longer?
Oh, my God, bro. I really can't, bro. Like, he's like one of them like old school Raiders from like the 70s. Like he's like that much of a Raider. It's just like wild to think. Like I remember I heard something about they were thinking about trading. Like the previous GM was thinking about like seeing what was on the market for Maxx Crosby. I was like, bro, do you want Raiders fans at the front door of the facility with pitchforks and fucking flames, bro?
Yeah, do you want the Luka Doncic in Dallas treatment? Because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, bro. And so it's just like, I don't know, man. But it's like he's put so much into it. And it's like, man, the Raiders, he deserves so much more. The Raiders deserve so much more. And so, I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he tried to go to a situation where he could see if they could make a run. Because it's like, man, he's such a difference maker, bro. Like, it's not even funny.
For a player or anybody out there who's listening to this right now, who's, you know, maybe struggling through mental health or struggling through addiction, you know, what's the one thing that you think you would say to, you know, people out there who, you know, there are a lot of people who listen to this, know me, know my story and what it is, and do look at times for advice or struggling through things, and this may be a piece of their day that makes it a little bit better. What do you feel like is the number one thing that you would say to people right now who are going through situations like that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Just like a lot of like how we define like wealth in this country. You kind of hit on it too about like having less. I think that we can be so like caught up in the pursuit of something that we can bypass our health and our well-being. And kind of like I described, like with me in 2023, like I've hit multiple walls of just being like, man, I got everything checked off. Like, why do I still like feel like I'm struggling, bro? And it's just like, I feel like real wealth is just like feeling like really having well-being in yourself, bro. Like peace in your mind, like having a positive belief system about yourself, like treating your body like it's the only one you're gonna get. Like, bro, like those things are so much more important than making a whole bunch of money, having this big contract, because you could have all this stuff, but behind closed doors, bro, you could be miserable, man. And I just really feel like people need to realize now more than ever that, bro, like feeling strong, feeling healthy, feeling like, you know, your life is yours and that you're taking care of yourself. You have a positive relationship with yourself, like being clean, being sober, being conscious of what's going on inside of you, learning to have a relationship with the discomfort that you're feeling your own feelings, bro. Like those are the things I feel like we can pass in the pursuit of things in this, you know, capitalistic society, bro. Like the most important, like real wealth is taking care of yourself, having love for yourself, respect for yourself. And yeah, bro, like that's what I would tell people, bro. Like that's real wealth. You will get a whole bunch of money and be like, fuck, bro. They lied. They got me.
Yeah,
like,
some of the richest people I know and richest families and this and that have the most problems and are the most, you know, unhappy inside. Yeah. You know, wealth and traditional wealth, I guess, doesn't always translate into happiness or whatever it is. I always tell people that success is what you define it, right? I mean, I guess for me, in a way, is, you know, if my family is good and my friends are good and I'm in a place where, you know, I'm on a continued path to being happy and being right. You know, I don't expect myself to be here at 33 years old and have everything figured out. You know, life is a journey of figuring things out, learning through ups and downs and everything that it is. But if my family and friends are good and I'm on a path where I feel like I'm good, you know, I'm making other people's lives better and I'm putting out positive energy and interactions into my daily life and I'm living in a clean way in that sense, That to me, in my eyes, is success, right? As you sit here in your current life, right? Daily wellness is a huge part of your life. Talk to our audience a little bit about how daily routines play such a central role in staying grounded, focused, and creative in the ways that you want to be.
Yeah, no doubt. And days aren't always perfect for me either, but the ideal day for me, like a day like today, woke up, did like a 20-minute meditation, walked around my neighborhood, as the sun was like peeking up over the mountains, just starting my day off with that, setting the tone like that is perfect for me. Then I got on a 12-step meeting this morning at 8, and other practices for me, it's just like I came across there's this girl on TikTok, and her whole channel is based on like restoring like having like a real life, like how social media like can just like consume you. And she talked about like every day she called it raw dogging life for like at least like 15 minutes. She'll set like a 15-minute timer and sit there with no devices, no nothing, no TV, no music, just sit there. And so I've been doing that shit.
It's healthy. It's crazy healthy.
Sit there for like 30 minutes.
I throw my shit in a drawer for an hour. If I didn't, or turn my phone on airplane mode to where I can't get anything, because I play too much music, right? I walk around with a small Bose speaker that I have over here, and I pretty much have that attached to my hip. We're getting into our next question too, but it's like how important that is for my days going throughout my day. Like if I'm having a bad day, I sit here and I got 10, 15, 20 songs that, I can turn my phone off, turn that thing into a real paperweight or brick, throw on some music that I have downloaded to my phone, and I can really get my mood and my mindset and perspective from a place that's really, really shit to really, really good in a hurry. And I didn't have that skill in the past, right? I used to have the ability to sit in my own pity and sorrow and bad days and wallow, right? And let it continuously compound and get worse. Awareness of it, feeling it, knowing it, shutting out what I need to, and then getting to the things that make me happy is like what you're saying is paramount to overcoming some of those bad days that we inevitably have.
Yeah, for sure, man. And throwing into like other things I was listening, like, bro, like get a hobby, man. Like that's where like the music comes in for me. It's just like I got the first take. Like I watched my homie make beats for the first time. I think it was like 2012. I was like, what the fuck is that? That shit looks fire. And then meeting people that made music for the first time. And it was like, damn, cause I always was in like band and shit and like played piano when I was a kid. So it's like, fuck, like, oh, people really like do this shit. And like that creative expression is a lot of what saved my life too. Cause I really started doing that when right around when I got sober. It was when I started locking in with that. And just having something that you can pour into just because you want to pour into it is so important, bro. Like, even my physical therapist has showed me studies of like, you could have all these recovery modalities, sauna, cold plunge, all this shit. But like the top recovery tool you can have is doing things that light you on fire, being around people that you really love. Like those are the most important recovery tools you can have, because it just does something for your body and your nervous system. So it's like I'll throw getting a hobby in there and devoting time to something creative, whatever the fuck it may be, like just because you love doing it. Because a lot of us, we can fill our days up with so much shit, and it might not be no joy in your day at all.
Man, as we get into the final question, always presented by PrizePicks. Use code Johnny, play $5 to get $50 in lineups. Man, in every episode, I like to ask our guests, if you had to choose one word to define your glory days, what's that word for you?
I would say it's been all about a return, I guess, like a return to like who I really am. I feel like a lot of my life I spent kind of like chasing my tail, trying to be, follow paths that I would get validation for pursuing, or trying to be somebody in the eyes of other people. But most of the work that I've done and just seeing how my life has transpired, it's really just been like a return back to like how I want to live my life, the type of principles I want to live by, type of man I want to be, and what I want to spend my time doing, the relationships I want to have, like just return to like being who I am. Because if you're not actively defining that for yourself, the world will happily define it for you. And have you feel like you got to go in a million different directions. But for me, it's like knowing that I can step away from things where I need to step away from them if I feel compelled to. And it's always about like, if I'm returning to like who I really am, what I'm really about, and not trying to make it like an outside in deal, but living from the inside out. That's why I feel like I defined my story and allowed it to take shape in a way that people can be inspired by.
Oh, man, more than anything, I think this has been, one of the realest episodes that I've done. One that, it's amazing and something that you get a chance to see all the time, but sharing stories and sharing the ability to talk in this way is so helpful. It's what, AA is all about, what the meetings you go to are all about. It's what a lot more of life should be about. So, man, it's unbelievable to hear your perspective, your story, where you are currently in your life. And man, from me and one of the boys to the other, man, I wish you nothing but the most continued success. I'll make sure we exchange numbers after this. And man, anything I can ever do to help, my phone is open always 24/7. Anything I could ever do for you, brother. Man, this is Glory Days with my guy, Darren Waller. Thank you so much for joining us, my G. Much love.
Man, appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you, brother.